Tonight, the world's attention is focused on the Middle East. How will Israel strike back after Iran's attack?
We have to try and do everything we can to avoid a wider war.
Deepening concern after that barrage of missiles. Our team is in Tel Aviv for a first-hand look at the damage on the ground.
All the wall, even here, was shaking.
And we have a crew in Lebanon where there are fresh Israeli airstrikes.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
A brawl between parents and a coach off the ice brings a kids' hockey game to a stop.
These types of instances cast an image of all hockey, which really isn't the case.
And a CBC News exclusive, the secret mission to rescue Afghanistan's last female politicians hunted by the Taliban.
Forget about the partisan baloney. This is about what's doing the right thing.
Canadian MPs of all stripes working together quietly to get it done. Canadians haven't a clue what you've been up to. At least, not until now.
From CBC News, this is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault.
Thanks for joining us. World leaders are struggling to contain a spiraling catastrophe in the Middle East. Israel is warning the time for empty calls for de-escalation is, quote, over, declaring Iran a danger to the world after that deadly ballistic missile attack. This is Beirut tonight, again pummeled by airstrikes. Israel's campaign against Iran's allies in Lebanon is intensifying. Israel brushing aside calls for an end to tit-for-tat violence and threatening Iran with unimaginable consequences. But we want to begin tonight with our team on the ground in the region. Chris Brown is in Israel, where the uncertainty and human cost of war is rising.
Less than 48 hours after Israel sent ground troops into Lebanon, there are funerals for Israeli soldiers. A total of 8 Israelis were killed in fighting, with 7 other soldiers injured, making it the deadliest day for its military in nearly a year of clashes with the Iran-backed militant group. We are at the height of a difficult war against Iran's axis of evil, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said in a video as he offered condolences. Israel has announced it will send more troops into Lebanon, expanding the ground war with infantry and armor. It comes a day after Iran launched a huge salvo of ballistic missiles at targets throughout Israel in response, it says, for Israel's killing of top allies, including the leaders of Hezbollah and Hamas. Iran says it struck 3 air bases and Israeli intelligence facilities, none of it confirmed by Israel, which claims most of the missiles were intercepted. But there was damage.
The explosion occurred, and all the world, even here, was shaking.
83-year-old Shmulek Sakari emerged from his bomb shelter to find the blast from a nearby missile impact had blown out the windows of his home.
The house was a multitude of glasses, no doors, no windows, everything, the TV flown up.
With the Jewish New Year holiday Rosh Hashanah beginning, he says his emotions are conflicted.
It should be something happy, but it can't be inside us to be happy. We don't know where we are going, where they push us to go.
The missiles fired by Iran were aimed at Israel, but they didn't just fall there. Some fell here in the occupied West Bank, where the only confirmed fatality was reported. In Jericho, hundreds of Palestinians gathered for the funeral of Sameh el-Asali. In a terrible twist of fate, he was a construction worker from Gaza, stranded in the West Bank for more than a year after the October 7th attacks. His distraught father, Kader, told us his son was hit by falling debris. He wanted to go home and see his kids. He was waiting for a ceasefire so he could go home, he said. Israeli officials stressed again that a response to Iran's attack is coming. Another front in an expanding war that's claiming yet more lives. Chris Brown, CBC News in Jericho.
World leaders are weighing in on Iran's ballistic missile attack on Israel. Paul Hunter now on the condemnation and the calls for restraint.
With Israeli military operations.
At an emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council, this sobering assessment of the fast worsening conflict.
The raging fires in the Middle East are fast becoming an inferno. This deadly cycle of tit-for-tat violence must stop. Time is running out.
But neither Israel nor Iran seem open to that. A day after that strike by Iran, said Israel
will respond. Our response will be decisive. And yes, it will be painful.
In Qatar, this from the president of Iran. If Israel decides to retaliate, said Masoud Pezeshkian, then it will face an even harsher response. Into this, Israel's most influential ally, the United States, on potential next steps for Israel.
I call the meeting of the G7. All 7 of us agree that they have a right to respond, but they should respond in proportion.
Indeed, from global leaders, apparent recognition that action by Israel now seems all but certain, but as well, a push for all sides to step back.
I strongly condemn the ballistic missile attack launched yesterday by Iran against Israel.
We do need to pull back from the brink and to encourage all parties to find a way to de-escalate.
Obviously, Israel has the right to defend itself against these attacks. At the same time, we have to try and do everything we can to avoid a wider war.
The question hanging, what might Israel now do? The most worrying potential response, targeting Iran's nuclear facilities. Would the U.S. support Israel on that?
The answer is no.
The U.S. underlines in the end it's Israel's call, but if it goes ahead with such a strike, ignoring Joe Biden, the biggest question of all, then what? Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
Lebanon says at least 5 people were killed tonight in an Israeli airstrike in central Beirut. Margaret Evans is in Beirut, where despite Israel's ongoing offensive, Hezbollah is still fighting and still dangerous.
The southern suburbs of Beirut still smoldering after the latest round of Israeli airstrikes. Smoke above the Hezbollah stronghold a near constant, and pinpointing gaping holes in the ground where once buildings stood and well-worn pathways lay. Hezbollah still controls access to the area known as the Dahya, allowing journalists in for a rare photo op. Spokesman Haj Mohammed Afif claiming there are no weapons hidden here. All the buildings that were bombed in the last week are civilian buildings, he says. The Hezbollah leader, Hassan Nasrallah, died in an airstrike nearby last week in what the Israeli military described as an underground control center. Hezbollah has vowed to carry on the battle against Israel. The 8 Israeli soldiers killed in southern Lebanon, the work of its fighters on the ground.
So I think this is a sample of what may happen all over South Lebanon. I guess that Hezbollah is prepared for that.
This former Lebanese army general believes Hezbollah will try to stay the course despite the loss of almost its entire senior command structure.
Hezbollah has not the same strength that it had in the first beginning of the war, but it doesn't mean that their fighting capability is nil or finished.
Israel has warned residents in another handful of Lebanese villages to evacuate north to spare their own lives. More strain for a country teeming with the displaced. For those able who've decided to leave the country, the Beirut airport is still functioning for now. Its runway visible just beyond the Dahya. Margaret Evans, CBC News, Beirut.
Attention may have shifted away from the war in Gaza, but it's still raging, and a warning it is still horrifying to witness on a day when Israeli attacks left dozens dead, including children. Among the dead in Gaza, an 11-month-old infant killed in the arms of her mother by a rocket, according to her aunt. The whole world is asleep, she says. Nobody cares or is even looking at our faces. Local medics say Israeli forces launched raids across Gaza, killing at least 65 people. In Han Yunis, this man is overcome, listing his dead neighbors. Arriving at this hospital, casualties of a strike on a school used as a shelter. Israel says Hamas was hiding there among civilians. Hamas denies it. These children, in either case, helpless. Next, to breaking news out of Toronto, where a police officer has been shot this evening near a busy intersection.
So I just saw, floods of cops come by, surround all the streets, helicopters everywhere.
The city's police chief says the 29-year-old was struck in the abdomen while investigating a stopped vehicle near Yonge and Eglinton. He was taken to hospital, but his injuries are not life-threatening. 3 people have been arrested. Investigators have confirmed an officer also fired their gun at the scene. Well, the RCMP has made a series of arrests in BC after a teenager was attacked by a group while out at a park. And as Lindsay Duncombe shows us, the entire assault was caught on camera.
There were more than 30 kids in the crowd. We've blurred the video and aren't showing the attack, but later in this clip, a 13-year-old girl is thrown to the ground and punched over and over. She stops moving. Dirt is kicked on her face. Her family says she has a concussion, cuts to her face, and injured ribs. We aren't identifying the victim or her family because of her age.
I had to lock myself in the house for the weekend. That's a rage that a father should never have to feel, so I still want everybody held accountable, and I won't stop till they are.
He says his daughter was lured to this lakeside park in Kelowna by a friend. Police say they identified 5 aggressors. 3 have been arrested and released with strict conditions. RCMP thanked 2 young people, one who tried to stop the fight and another who called police.
Of the 30-plus people that were standing around watching and taking video, you showed compassion and made the right decision.
RCMP say there were 41 incidents of youth violence in Kelowna in 2023, up from just 16 the year before. People who study teens and violence say social media makes it worse.
They get caught up in the fever pitch of the moment. What happens is that people's their sense of right and wrong is corrupted when the peer group is really agitated and excited like they are in this case.
Police want people to stop sharing the video.
The video is degrading, and the attempt is to humiliate. The sharing of evidence can negatively impact witnesses that we have yet to interview and the prosecution of this case.
The victim had just started high school. Her family says she's recovering from her injuries and receiving counseling. Lindsay Duncombe, CBC News, Vancouver.
CBC News has learned Frank Stronach is facing 4 new charges tonight, including rape and indecent assault. The charges stem from alleged incidents between 1981 and 1993, all in Ontario. This comes nearly 4 months after the 92-year-old was first arrested. In total, Stronach is now facing 17 criminal charges. Well, Canadian figure skater Nikolaj Sorensen has been suspended for at least 6 years for sexual maltreatment. This follows an investigation by the Office of the Sport Integrity Commissioner into claims he sexually assaulted an American coach in 2012. The 35-year-old Olympian denies the allegations, which have not been tested in court. And U.S. President Joe Biden is expected to visit Georgia and Florida tomorrow, a day after he witnessed Hurricane Helene's devastation in the Carolinas. Vanessa Lee now on the concerns this deadly disaster will be felt for years to come.
With swaths of destruction at every turn, it's hard for survivors to know where to begin picking up the pieces. This is what's left of Guerin Creek, North Carolina, one of the hardest hit areas. Fire Chief Wade Wright is doing his best to stay focused on his job, despite having lost family members.
I know it'll hit eventually, but we still have our moments, but I try not to think about it right now.
This afternoon, U.S. President Joe Biden got a first-hand look at the devastation in that state after deploying another 1,000 soldiers to help deliver crucial supplies to isolated communities. Nearly a week after Hurricane Helene made landfall, more than 1 million people are still without power, hundreds missing. and the death toll climbing past 180 across 6 states. New research suggests many more people die long after a storm has passed.
We estimate about 7,000 to 11,000 excess deaths per storm are generated by these storms over a bunch of indirect channels over many, many years, which is about 300 times greater than any official accounting of the direct deaths.
Co-author Rachel Young says the loss of life stems from physical and mental stress to social and economic changes. The study found the risk is higher for certain groups, with Black individuals 3 times more likely to die after a hurricane than white individuals.
There's been this disinvestment in Black communities for decades and centuries for some communities. And because of that, the infrastructure that should exist in order to deal with natural disasters does not exist the same way that it may in other communities.
Researchers say their findings highlight storms pose a much greater public health burden than anyone had previously anticipated. A hidden toll they hope will come into sharper focus. Vanessa Lee, CBC News, Montreal.
In northern Alberta, 3 Indigenous communities are outraged. They say the federal government kept them in the dark about contaminants found in their lake. About 700 kilometers north of Edmonton, in Fort Chipewyan, Transport Canada operates a well-used dock on Lake Athabasca. Julia Wong now with the concern over what's in the surrounding waters.
This dock is a meeting spot in Fort Chipewyan, an area where people swim, fish, and harvest. But Indigenous leaders say, according to a Transport Canada report, it's also the site of toxic contamination in the water and sediment.
They found heavy metals like arsenic, mercury, and iron, and they also found uranium.
That federal report was done in 2017, but local leaders say they were never told about it.
The federal government always talks about truth and reconciliation, but yet they cannot be truthful to something that's so important to us, and that's the health of our water.
The community says it did its own water and sediment testing this past summer and found toxic substances were still present in the water and sediment. Residents have been told to stay away from the dock by local leaders.
Do not consume any fish, wildlife, and plants.
The community says this is similar to a tailings pond leak upstream from them that they weren't alerted to for 9 months. Transport Canada acknowledges it never shared the 2017 report with the community, but it says the study found the site was not likely to pose any risks to human health. This expert reviewed the community's water testing results.
If you are not ingesting the water and large amounts of the water on a daily basis over many, many years, and you're not consuming any kind of sediment, visiting the site has no risk whatsoever.
Still, local leaders are calling on Ottawa to clean up the site.
We have started talking to concerned federal departments to see what action could be taken to remediate the situation there.
The 3 communities are arranging health screening and mental health supports for concerned residents, and they are not ruling out legal action. Julia Wong, CBC News, Edmonton.
The House of Commons has voted in favor of a Bloc Québécois motion to increase old age security, getting support from all opposition parties. Most Liberals, though, voted against it. The Bloc Québécois leader is again demanding the Liberal government back the plan or face an early election.
And if they do not, we will start as rapidly as next week to speak with other oppositions in order to get ready to go into an election. And I will.
In the event of a non-confidence vote, the Liberals need the support of either the Bloc or the NDP. In exchange, Yves-François Blanchet wants a 10% increase to OAS. And he says if the Liberals don't agree by October the 29th, the Bloc will attempt to trigger an election. Well, the Kids Hockey League is investigating a brawl that broke out off the ice.
Oh my God!
What the organization says it will do with unruly parents.
So we've got a lot of parents these days that are overstepping.
A Russian jet makes a dangerous maneuver. And a prehistoric discovery unearthed in Alberta.
It is the biggest skull we've ever found.
We're back in 2. A kids' hockey league in Ontario says it's investigating after a big fight broke out off the ice. Jamie Strachan now on what went down, the potential penalty, and why incidents like this keep happening.
On the ice, a hockey game between 7 and 8-year-olds. Off the ice, a brawl involving parents and at least one coach. The game is stopped, players sent to their benches. It happened at this Ontario arena, a season-opening tournament for the Clever League, which has attracted some of the best young players in the province.
I think the first thing is to make sure the kids aren't impacted. They'll do what they have to do with anyone who is aggressor, like whoever started the fights. I think, they have no place to being there.
The league refused requests for an on-camera interview, but in a statement to CBC News, it says the KSL intends to take appropriate action and has taken interim steps, including suspensions, adding violent or aggressive behavior won't be tolerated.
I think anytime behavior like that happens in front of young people is just simply not acceptable, whether it's our league or anywhere else.
Scott Oakman runs the GTHL, the largest youth hockey league in the world. With thousands of games played every year, 6 parents were banned last season for bad behavior. The latest also from this weekend, parents brawling at this youth AAA game in Toronto. He says he usually deals with at least one case of misbehaving parents every week.
We're going to get to the bottom of who is involved and hold them accountable. Unfortunately, these types of instances cast an image of all hockey, which really isn't the case, and all parents are kind of tainted with that image.
These are isolated incidents, outliers among mostly positive experiences, but experts say a product of an increasingly competitive culture surrounding elite youth sports.
We pay an awful lot of money to have our kids involved in sport. Sometimes parents feel completely entitled. So we've got a lot of parents these days that are overstepping.
Some are using what happened as a lesson.
I actually mentioned it to him as like a learning point. So there's nothing wrong with looking at what the mistakes adults are making and learning from it.
A chance to take something good away from this ugly incident. Jamie Strachan, CBC News, Toronto.
Some Afghan women at risk of being killed by the Taliban after serving in Parliament are safe in Canada tonight.
Happy to see you.
Our exclusive look at their dangerous escape.
I was telling bye to my country, to my home.
And the Canadian MPs putting aside politics to help.
Why is it taking so long?
The National breaks down the story shaping our world. Next. That was close. You're looking at a Russian fighter jet zooming dangerously close to an American F-16. That is according to a U.S. general. These images were recorded last week as NORAD intercepted 4 Russian jets in international airspace near Alaska. That same general posted on X that the move was, quote, unsafe, unprofessional, and endangered all. Well, the Jewish high holidays begin tonight, but this year amidst a tense new reality. As Alison Northcott shows us, there's heightened security at synagogues as the Middle East conflict escalates and the October 7th anniversary nears.
Rabbi Adam Shire says synagogues have stepped up security significantly.
Everything has been different since October 7th. The way that we gather as a community, our regular morning services, afternoon services, Sabbath services.
With the Jewish high holidays beginning, safety is top of mind.
We're doing even more and doing even better, and that's with professional security guards, that's with surveillance and technology.
In the Montreal area, police say there were more than 120 reported hate crimes targeting the Jewish community over the past year, including a bullet shot through a school door. Montreal police say they'll have an enhanced presence around synagogues for the next few weeks, and where there were once open-door policies, access is now strictly limited.
My synagogue provides a wristband so that I can physically show that I belong. These actions are different than every other year. Our doors are not open because we fear a threat.
Among some members of the Jewish community, there's anxiety and resolve.
We're strong, and we're going to stick together this Rosh Hashanah holiday. And I imagine every synagogue is going to be on high alert.
I will go because it's my duty to show that I'm not afraid.
The added security comes with added costs.
We've had to spend almost $100,000 a month
securing institutions here on the West Coast. It's tough.
But he says Jewish groups are grateful Ottawa is making it easier for more organizations to access more federal money for things like private security guards.
Unfortunately, hate crimes have risen in Toronto, particularly targeting the Jewish community.
Toronto police will also increase patrols, with command posts in Jewish neighborhoods and near mosques as the first anniversary of the October 7th attacks approaches. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world. Tonight, inside a daring and delicate rescue mission. The women of Afghanistan had a moment and seized it, some rising high, elected as MPs, and then the Taliban roared back.
Unfortunately, no one is safe here, not for women.
Years of gains gone. In their place, brutal retribution. Suddenly, women celebrated by Western counterparts needed help, and it was life or death. One group of Canadian MPs jumped into action with a closely held plan. And as things unfolded, we got exclusive access to stories of survival untold until now.
The day which we were waiting for the last 1.5 years, today it's happened.
Women running for their lives from Taliban-controlled Afghanistan to ultimately, they hope, Canada.
Unfortunately, no one is safe here, not for women.
This is an exclusive look at a mission undertaken largely in secret to help former Afghan female members of parliament and their families flee a regime that wants them dead. Among them, a frightened woman we'll call Nilofer, making a break for the border with Pakistan.
I was telling bye to my country, to my home.
We're concealing her identity, by the way, because in addition to saying goodbye to her country, she knew she was leaving some family behind and she's worried about their safety.
I cried too much at home.
She was one of 69 female MPs in the country, propped up and celebrated by countries like Canada. But then came August 15th, 2021. After 20 years of war and a series of fragile governments, Taliban rule came roaring back. Suddenly, those MPs weren't women honored, they were women hunted.
I am getting ready to fly into Kabul for what may be my last time.
A Canadian, Corey Levine, who'd worked with the female MPs in Afghanistan for years, started getting the most terrifying text messages.
I was getting all these texts from Afghan friends saying the Taliban have come, I've got my gun, I'm going to shoot myself. It was really nice to know you. One said, it took me 6 hours to get home from work. There were dead bodies in the street.
Frightened women started finding any way out they could. Most of the female MPs found a way to get to Greece, where they set up an Afghan parliament in exile. But nearly a dozen ended up trapped in Afghanistan, Nilofer among them.
It was so chaotic, and they were just left behind.
Corey was desperate to help get them out, get them safely to Canada, but she knew she couldn't do this alone. She needed clout. So she gathered a group of Canadian politicians from every federal party and asked them to put away their differences and get to work.
I just thought Canadian parliamentarians should be able to relate to this situation of these parliamentarians trapped and in danger.
This is where we move.
On January 10th, 2023, she set up a meeting.
All the women are asking to do whatever it takes to get them to safety.
And she introduced the Canadians to the Afghan MP Nilofer, who told them her story.
When the Taliban regained control of country, I thought I shouldn't leave Afghanistan. I should stay with my people and serve the women of Afghanistan. I thought the Taliban had changed, that they weren't the same Taliban as before 2001. But they hadn't changed.
We should send
The Canadian parliamentarians seemed to immediately agree they had to help. So a secret plot was born to ferry the women and their families out of Afghanistan. The secrecy critical to safety.
There's no excuse.
Still, Conservative Alex Ruff had a warning for the whole group right away.
If one of these women dies before we can get them out of there, I'll be as public as I possibly can be.
A former Afghan MP and her bodyguard have been shot dead at her home in the capital, Kabul.
Terrible thing being right sometimes. Just days after Ruff's dire warning, on January 15th, 2023, the worst happened. 30-year-old Afghan MP Mursal Nabizada, one of the women the Canadian politicians vowed to help, was indeed murdered.
That has to have been a terrible day for all of you.
Yeah, sorry, I still get emotional thinking about it. She was such an incredible woman, and it was completely devastating for all of us.
We were in shock when we lost that woman. We all talked together. We were in shock. But then imagine the other women MPs. They know we lost one. For them, it's a real thing.
They needed to keep working, mostly in secret, until the time was right for you to see this. It is now.
Forget about the partisan baloney. This is about what's doing the right thing to help these former Afghan MPs.
Conservative Alex Ruff served 2 tours in Afghanistan, and these are the other MPs he's been shoulder to shoulder with quietly. Colleagues from the Bloc, the Green Party, the NDP, and members of the Liberal government.
The women's rights movement in Afghanistan was encouraged by Western countries, and Canada was certainly a big part of that. So I think as a result of that, we owe a particular obligation to the women who kind of stepped forward.
What does it take to get women, former MPs from Afghanistan, and we know where they are. We don't want the Taliban to know where they are. We want to get them here safely.
We need to make sure it happens before another death. We get another phone call.
By the end of 2023, Corey Levine realized she had to go back to Afghanistan to get the women out. It was getting too complicated from afar. The rights of women there were collapsing faster all the time. The lives of the remaining female MPs even more precarious. Once back in Kabul, Corey sat with a family of the slain MP Mursal Nabizada, including her mom Shakira and her brothers.
Oh, Mursal is a little child. Oh, very sweet.
A family full of respect for what she'd accomplished.
That was her first day of being in Parliament. You must have all been so proud of her when she went to Parliament. That was the most proud day for everybody.
This is also a family under threat, though. CBC News has verified this video of armed Taliban lurking outside their home. Leaving the only option. The plan for Mursal Nabizada's family was that in November of 2023, they would all get out. A last stop at her grave, a must for her mom. Corey, right there beside her. After confusion and complications with getting visas, Corey and a translator secretly paid brokers for the right visas to cross by land into Pakistan, a place so many Afghans had fled to catch their breath and figure out a next step.
More than 1.7 million Afghans have been told to leave Pakistan.
Pakistan was growing weary of hosting so many Afghans and was starting to hunt down and deport some back to Afghanistan, back into the claws of the Taliban. The women were terrified. Coming up.
So can you help me understand what the block is? Because when we talk to the women, they don't understand.
We don't understand either, for a lot of us.
Make me the minister, I'll have them all out in 2 weeks.
The untold story of the secret rescue mission continues. looking at the fight to get Afghanistan's female lawmakers to safety in Canada.
To be honest, I don't understand why they're not here.
Even after evading the Taliban's grasp, diplomatic hurdles remained, spurring an alliance of MPs across Canada's political spectrum. We got access as plans were set in motion, urgent, fraught, and as you'll see, sometimes successful. For months, we've been given exclusive access inside a bold mission. Canadian politicians united across party lines to rescue Afghanistan's last female politicians. One of these women has been hiding in Pakistan for months. We'll call her Hasna. It's a total honor to meet you. She was in that car with Corey and Nilofer that November day in 2023 when they crossed the border from Afghanistan to Pakistan, full of hope that then turned to fear.
She's saying, I don't want to share my face still when I'm in Pakistan still. When I'm waiting here in Pakistan, the situation is not good.
Her Pakistani visa expired. She was afraid to go out, too afraid to show her face or use her real name.
She thinks that if she speak about the issues and about the Taliban, it will bring a lot of problem for her family in Afghanistan. She's saying that I'm not in that secure place.
By the time we had this conversation with her, she'd already been in hiding in Pakistan for months, waiting for the Canadians.
So can you help me understand what the block is? Because when we talk to the women, they don't understand, and they ask us. And
We don't understand either for a lot of us.
Look, our collective frustration is immense. We cannot answer the question, why is it taking so long? But I don't think that the tools that the Minister of Immigration has at his or her disposal at any given time are fit for purpose. We have a lot of a bureaucracy that has a lot of procedures and requirements. They're really trying hard, but I wonder about their tools.
in your own minds, is there like a crystallized understanding of where the blockage is?
Every case right now, because we've been going case by case with Minister Miller and his staff, every case is different that's left, so it's hard to say it's one thing.
To be honest, I don't understand why they're not here.
I share the frustration in the slowness, but I think part of the explanation is in the volume. We brought in 500,000 immigrants last year. It's difficult getting information out of Afghanistan when we don't have a diplomatic presence there. There's a lot of other people under threat in Pakistan. I know it's taking time. I know it's frustrating.
That frustration from the two MPs on the government team could be a point for opposition to strike play to the rolling cameras. Instead, it seems they really are all in this together.
Kudos to Marcus and Leah for being part of this, because I think for those of us that are not in the government party, we recognize the benefit. And I know I'm here because I see the benefit of us working together to try to influence the government. We have disagreements, like on how fast this could happen, because I'm up front. I've said this publicly. Make me the minister, I'll have them all out in 2 weeks.
I don't mean to go overboard in defending our government, but across the globe, there's like 35 million refugees. There's a lot of people globally who are in pretty desperate situations who are asking for help.
All of this is true, and none of this helps the women who wait, including Hasna, still waiting in Pakistan by October, 10 months after she left Afghanistan, afraid of not just never getting out, but of what awaits them if they do.
I will be in a secure life environment for myself, for my family. That will be a biggest change. Of course, I have a lot of questions about the Canada, about how I will live there. Because when you are going to a new place, you will have a different experience, different people.
What's your 3 o'clock in the morning best scenario for what happens here? What's the scene you're imagining?
The scene is that they're all here. We gather to break bread. They're safe, and we're enjoying a wonderful Afghan meal all together.
So the scene is not exactly as Corey imagined it, but good news of any kind is so sweet. It's now safe to share with you that after years of trying, a few of the women and their families have now made it to Canada. including Nilofer and 6 members of her immediate family. They're now settled in BC, a new life, one Corey wants to see for herself.
I know, it's too exciting.
What you're looking at here is a mix of enormous relief and yet some guilt and enough real fear, even here, to hide their identity. There are, of course, family members and other female politicians still in Afghanistan.
I'm happy here, but from heart, I'm not happy. Because those women who are still in Afghanistan, they cannot get education. They're not allowed to work. I cannot forget it.
Forgetting isn't an option for anyone. Neither is walking away from this effort. So look who was in the arrivals terminal in Toronto late one night very recently. All the Canadian MPs, with the exception of one, have made it. Flowers and balloons and flags and pride for a moment they have been waiting for. The arrival, finally, of the family of that slain Afghan MP, Marcel Nabizadeh. Her mom, Shakira, and her 3 little brothers are now here, now safe. Shakira, do you allow yourself to have a dream now?
Marcel had a lot of dreams for people. So Marcel is not here, but these children are going to follow her steps, and they will do the same thing for the people of Afghanistan.
We love Mrs. Puri and we love Canada.
As a family, they're now moving to a small town in Ontario. The young men promising as they left that as soon as they learn English, they have so much they want to say and share and ask. What a relief. And for Canadian politicians so often mired in what is broken, a feeling of trying to make things better. Canadians haven't a clue what you've been up to. And what do you want them to take from this experience?
Anything can be done with the right will, desire, and focus. And when we work together like this, we can help make things happen. It didn't happen as fast as some of us would like, but ultimately, the sacrifice that Marcel made and this family made, I think, made a difference.
I would so love Canadians to know that what they see on TV isn't who we really are as members of Parliament, that we work hard, we care about each other, we care about the world, and we're human beings.
If this can be an example for some political folks, then we would have done something.
Mission not yet fully accomplished. Not all the women are out, but a promise made is one the Canadian MPs say they intend to keep. Of all the failures around Afghanistan, no one wants this to be another one. We asked the federal minister about how long it's taking for some. Mark Miller said there are many complicating factors in the region and stressed his department's priority on safety. Well, next, the discovery that dates back millions of years.
We crack that pedestal and flip the fossil out of the ground.
The giant dinosaur skull dug up in Alberta. In our moment. What is that? Well, that is Big Sam, the massive dinosaur skull dug up by a team of paleontologists in Alberta. So the discovery was made some 70 million years after that dinosaur roamed the earth, and tonight the prehistoric find makes our moment.
The dinosaur in the bone bed is called a Pachyrhinosaurus. It's a horned dinosaur, kind of a smaller, older cousin of the Triceratops. It is the biggest skull we've ever found. We estimated the weight at 600 pounds. We actually weighed it when we got it back to the museum. We realized it's actually over 1,000. We tried our best to dig as far underneath it as we could. And then we drove in pry bars using sledgehammers. We cracked that pedestal and flipped the fossil out of the ground. It's actually preserved upside down, so as if the animal was lying on its back with the roof of its mouth facing up. The big mystery at the Pipestone Creek bone bed is what killed the herd of animals. We suspect that it was maybe something like a flood, like these animals trying to cross a flooded river, or maybe they got caught up in a flash flood and weren't able to escape. So that's our current theory about what killed the animals. We don't know. It's actually really rare to find a whole group of the same species of dinosaur preserved all in one place.
Amazing. Also, that bone bed was initially found in the 1970s by a high school teacher. From all of us at the National, thank you for being with us. You can watch anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to the National's YouTube channel. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Take care.